morning, everyone. This is Tony from her Homestead Skills. I hope everyone's well today. Weather is certainly changing here. It's like somebody flipped a switch and all of a sudden it is no longer summer, but it's fall and it's getting cold. And I can assure you that Mark and I both wish we were still down south right now. Didn't seem to get enough heat this year and could use another 6 months of it personally. But anyway, such is life. We're going to have to be dealing with ice and snow pretty soon, so not something that we are not accustomed to, that's for sure. Okay, a couple of things have happened. I think that some of you are aware that Canada is finally dropping COVID mandates for cross-border, and their stupid ArriveCAN app that you have to fill out in order to come to Canada, proving that you've had shots and so on and so forth, and where you've been and all that nonsense. A lot of us felt that it was just a tracking app, and I know a lot of Americans who would normally have come to Canada have refused to do so because of that app. Now, it was set to expire initially sometime in June, and it was extended, and now it is set to expire September 30th, which is not that far away. It's only a few days left. And the good news is that it's being reported that it will be allowed to expire. It will not be reinforced again. So unfortunately, it would have been nice to have that available during the summer, but the ability to travel back and forth across the border over the summer would have been a lot nicer than, but there's still time. And I'm just talking about land travel. It applies to all travel back and forth. Now, we still have the US that has to drop their requirement for people to be vaccinated in order to cross the border on that side. Anyway, that's a good sign. Now, a couple of things. I think everyone also has been hearing about Putin's threat of use of nuclear weapons should he feel that things aren't going his way. I mean, that's what it does come down to. And there's still not too much more I'm going to say on that one. I think that hopefully cooler heads will prevail all the way around. I understand China is one of the ones that is saying, hey, everyone come to a resolution here, which, interesting that China doesn't want to see things escalate beyond what they are now. I don't think China wants a war. They just want to be able to have customers that they can sell lots of stuff to. At least they don't want a physical war at this point. Whether it's a technical one or a financial one, I don't think they mind those ones at all. But anyway, Putin's war is not going the way he had hoped, and he is escalating, and that could be pretty frightening. But at this point, all we can do is sit and hope that cooler heads prevail. And I'm of the impression that God won't allow humanity to annihilate themselves. He may allow a lot of punishment, but not the end of the world. So, and certainly you start a nuclear war, that's almost what you're looking for. So I don't think we're going to revert back to one man, one woman repopulating the earth, but anyway, that's just a thought. Now, I'm sure you're hearing that people in Russia are being conscripted to go to war, and they are fighting that. So there's lots of protests in the streets of Russia. There are protests in the streets of Iran because of one woman who was murdered for not wearing a veil appropriately. I don't know what the women in Iran are up in arms that she was killed because of a scarf misplacement. And who knows what those people had in mind when they took her to the police station, but they were brutal and they killed her. And of course that has just caused creative uproar. Now both Russia and Iran and China are very brutal with protests. They don't really like protests, and they try to put a stop to them immediately, and they will kill anybody who gets in their way. But I think that people rising up is something that is going to continue to happen more and more. That's my personal opinion. I don't really have anything that I want to state that I'm basing this on, but it is a personal opinion that more people in more countries are going to rise up against tyranny. I don't think that it's going to be the U.S. or anyone that, any other company that brings Russia and Iran down. It's going to be their own people, and rightly so. And just like Sri Lanka, it was their own people that brought their government down. And I really do expect to see a lot more of that. So it's interesting times, interesting times. Now, the other thing I guess that we should really be concerned with today, on my theme of obviously preserving food, seems to be what my channel has morphed into more than anything else. I do a few other things, but preserving food seems to be the major draw, I guess I can suggest for my channel. So along those lines, I want to mention that beware of another potential serious potato shortage coming. Okay, Fiona is set to hit Nova Scotia tonight. This is Friday, by the way. I have been listening to some things that people are saying, and it is going to be a historic storm for Nova Scotia. And it's not that they haven't seen these storms in the past, but this one is expected to be quite large and quite dangerous and drop a ton of water. And one of the issues confronting farmers again, sadly, is that Nova Scotia is a huge producer of potatoes, and they would have dug them up starting next week, and it would have taken them a month to get them out of the ground. So no matter what they do right now, how quickly they work to try and get them out of the ground now, there is no way. It would take them a month to actually harvest their crops, even though they have huge equipment to do it, and there just isn't the time. And even if they had started to harvest them, they still would not have gotten very many of them out. So you can look forward to another potato shortage. Now I understand that there was a farmer or two that did begin harvesting them last week and shipping them out to the U.S. because that's where their major market is. And based on the fact that they had a very bad harvest last year, and they could lose this year's harvest because of Fiona, look forward to extremely high prices for potatoes, or at least an increased cost. Now, Nova Scotia, I'm sure, is not the only producer of potatoes, but they are a big supplier. So anybody that can go out and get potatoes at today's price, I would say that it's a good idea to get out and get in as much as you can as soon as you can. Personally, I'm covered. I've probably got 150 pounds of potatoes, and we don't go through that much in a year. So in all formats, I've got them canned, I've got them chipped canned, I've got them dried, I've got them dried in cubes, dehydrated, I've got them dehydrated in slices, I've got them yeah, I think in every format, and I've got some fresh still, so I've still got potatoes, and I'm not unhappy with them all, and I do have some seed potatoes that I hope they don't just deteriorate and go bad. I've never tried to save seed potatoes in the past, so this will be my first attempt, and I have no idea how successful I'll be at it. I've done what I could within the environment that I'm in, and all I can do now is hope for the best. So anyway, I'm hoping these farmers in Nova Scotia are not wiped out totally. I hope that they can manage to drain some of the water away that they're expecting. I understand that they also do work the land and do create drainage avenues or drainage means of draining the water out when they have too much, but I think the amount of water that they're going to get is fairly excessive, and something that probably they haven't seen in over 20 years. So it's although it's nothing new, it's not the most common of occurrences either. So doesn't bode well 2 years in a row. So food supply is getting to be rather strange, and I hope that many of you have put away everything you can as much as you can. And the other thing I want to do is start keeping an eye out on the stores. I'm not seeing any issues right now with panic buying, but we are starting to hear people talk about potential famines, and when they start to see that it's more than just shortages in North America. North America's not used to this, so they don't believe it. They believe, oh, we'll be fine. It's some other country over there that's going to deal with the famines. It won't be us. We're a rich country. We're fine. But famine could hit anybody at any time for any reason. So I'm not as... I mean, if you were... We weren't, but if you had been around during the Second World War, there were very wealthy countries that were decimated. So it can happen to anybody at any time for any reason. So hopefully you've got food stashed away, and that you continue to do so. I can't tell you to stop. I don't know when enough is enough. So it may be enough for you, but then maybe you can help somebody else as well. Okay, so anyway, hopefully this storm will not be as bad as what they're saying, but as usual, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. This is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.